Hello world, I go by the name of Joffey Joe, and this is the show, Call It How I See It. And on today's episode, I got a couple of teams I want to talk to you all about. First and foremost, it's March Madness, and we are down to the Final Four. I have Glenn Pratt, as me and Glenn talk some Final Four, and also talk about who we think is going to win an NCAA tournament. Secondly, I have a new guest on the show. He goes by the name of Keith Falco, a baseball expert, and also a Mets fan. But I'll let him slide because he's my boy. But me and Keith are going to talk some NL East and also what else has been going on in the MLB, as there's a controversial take going on around the MLB that you don't want to miss out on. And finally, I have the true handicapper in the house, Johnny B. He's in the house, yes. And we're going to revisit and talk about the NCAA tournament as, like I iterated before, we're down to the Final Four. So, Johnny's going to drop who he thinks is going to win the title, and I think it may surprise a lot of people, honestly. So I don't think you want to miss out on that, because I could potentially see this happening. And finally, I want to give a dedication for this episode to my late great mother. April 6th, 2017, I lost my mother, but this time of year, I like to dedicate my show to my mother, and I just hope I'm making you proud. But yes, you don't want to miss out on this action-packed episode. Hello world, yes, we're back, and as you can see, we have the one and only Glenn Pratt in the house. How you doing, G?
Yo, Joffey, hell, I hear from Joffey. It's time to call it how I see it. What? Let's get it on.
Let's get it on, G. So, as we last talked, we had some baseball stuff to talk about, but now we're here in the end of March, and the tournament is closing up. It's been a crazy tournament, as most would agree that it's been most of a chalk tournament. Most of the best.
Magnets.
Yes, the chalk, the magnets, everything aligning where, we see the best teams really win and at the position that they're at now. So, we have another historic feat happen, as this is the second time only as the NCAA tournament's been around that we have 4 teams that are all number 1 seeds in the Final Four, which is pretty crazy. Last time this happened, I believe, was 2008 in the San Antonio Final Four. But now, here we are, and like we were talking about a little bit before we started running things, it's just been a chalk 'em. We've seen teams just chalk it up and win. The best teams are winning, and all have had different journeys and paths to get to where they are now. We've seen Auburn probably have the toughest tasks, being a tougher team to get where they are. But when it comes to this, man, it's a dogfight from everybody. Everybody's trying to get to that spot. So, but G, now I want to dive in. So I was going to ask you, how do you feel about seeing an all 4 number 1 seed in the Final Four?
I love it, man. I've always been a guy doing brackets for years.
Yeah.
I've always been someone who, for whatever reason, man, I'm a chalk guy. I usually take the teams with I usually watch a little bit too, so
right.
There is some eyeball test being done. Right. But when I'm filling out that bracket, one's usually rocking all the way to the end, unless I see something from a 2 that caught my eye that may think that. I think most of the time I go chalk, and a lot of times what it boils down to, cream rises to the top, man. These teams have shown towards the end of the year, they all started getting. Auburn might have ran into a little
hiccups along
rough
the way.
Patch. Yeah, I think they lost like 3 or 4 games coming into the tournament or something like that. Yeah. So but the talent was there anyway. So right. It was just about a reset, right. And I'm not surprised for them to be where they are. All 4 of them, they all better teams, man. Cream rises to the top, and it's shown.
No, for sure. They've all stamped their claims, and it's been this college basketball season, from what I've seen for most of the part and been reading up on. It's been it's been a lot of interchanging at the top. There hasn't been a surefire number 1. We would all look at Duke having the best roster, but also too they had some hiccups earlier part of the year, and then where they ended up okay where they are now. But to see where things broke down over time, you've seen growth in these teams. Like a team like Duke, they're all freshmen basically, just running out there. We've seen older teams like Auburn and even Houston, getting to where they are now. Houston's been a really gritty team from what I was reading up on. They have 4 losses all year, and 3 of them came from overtime. So I gotta give Calvin Sampson some credit there when it comes to how he's built their program and culture. But all these guys have a clear. All these guys can have a clear chance to win this title. It's honestly that. So we'll see how things break down. Can't take Florida lightly either. From Clayton hitting those shots, coming back from Texas Tech, that was a crazy game. Coming down, even coming back from UConn a little bit, and coming back from them, they're shown some real resilience behind Coach Golden and stuff, and he's just letting his players play and make these plays in the big moments, and they really are where they are. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they face up and stuff. So I want to ask you though, G, as I was kind of bringing up and naming some coaches here. Out of the remaining coaches here, who do you think, you know, who do you think has like more of an upper hand because of experience? Do you think like, you know, veteran guys like Sampson or Bruce Pearl have like a better advantage compared to like guys like Golden or even John Shire with his rookie team or something like that? What do you think?
I look at Golden, I almost feel like he's a player. They get him up there. I mean, I'm looking at him doing this thing. I'm thinking, if he was a player, you'd be like, okay, he's Shire too. I mean, I remember when Shire played. I remember when he played.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, those guys, I guess this is new to them. And you got the experience of Pearl and
Calvin
Sampson.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess off the cuff, you're going to give them the advantage just because you think the experience. These guys have gotten to their players.
Right.
Their players are playing hard. So, I mean, if they're buying in, who knows what will happen at the end, you know?
No, for sure. They're definitely he's got, I mean, for a coach like Golden, I mean, he's playing more of like a guard system with 3 guards, and then he has his guys, but they're good at offensive rebounding for what I was reading.
You got a big team, Florida.
Yeah, they do, and they match up pretty good, but this is the thing, like I mean, their conference record in the regular season was kind of their only downfall. They did beat Auburn the last time they played each other, so it's going to definitely be like, you know, for what the SEC has been this year, like it's definitely going to be like, these were definitely the top 2 teams. I mean, Alabama was interchangeable with them, but these 2 were definitely like the Gladiators and the Titans of the SEC division.
The most consistent for the most part.
For sure, and this is why they are where they are, you know, and now they're going to duke it out one last time. I mean, to play a team 4 times in 1 year is pretty crazy, honestly. I mean, we saw, you know, like the SEC matchup of Tennessee and Kentucky, and then like, you know, Kentucky had Tennessee's number for most of the year, and then Tennessee ended up, you know, advancing in the tournament. So it's just how things break down, but like this collision and crash course, I'm really ready to see it and stuff. And even like on the other side too, like, you know, seeing, you know, Sampson and John Shire face off, it's going to be really interesting because we see some of like John Shire and Mike Krzyzewski's little, you know, system kind of intact and letting them roam around and play the way they need to. But I mean, personally for me, I mean, I really am intrigued by that matchup and seeing how things break down just with the, you know, because with an older team like Houston has, and, you know, building that type of culture and playing gritty ball, almost like kind of like Heat culture ball, but like the way they've been playing and getting to this point, it's going to be really interesting fighting, you know, the Titan that is the Duke Carolina.
I look at that Houston team too. I feel like they got a bunch of men on that team. I look up and think, that guy ain't 22. He's like 26.
I know.
I mean, they got a couple of jokes. I'm like, how old is this cat?
They got some guys.
You know what I mean? They got some men on that team.
No,
so
for sure.
It's going to be really interesting.
And for sure, even in some of the points in the tournament too, like that game against Purdue, like they had to kind of fight back, and then they won on that tip-in, which was crazy. So, but like,
same.
The one kid, Crash Spears or whatever, he got hot a lot of times in this tournament. With, you know, he's got a little awkward shot, but he's like, he's a big momentum boost, especially when they were down some of the times in the tournament and able to get them up and, you know, end up winning the game. So it's going to be a real interesting matchup. I'm really intrigued by that matchup, seeing how things are going to break down. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, Houston can beat Duke and stuff and, you know, kind of shock the world a little bit.
With the defense Houston plays, listen, I know Duke has a lot of weapons. Proctor,
he's
Flag. I mean, they got, is that Knuble?
Knuble, yes. He's been on fire this tournament.
He's an effective player,
yes,
dude.
He is.
So, I mean,
they
got the weapons to definitely make it happen. I mean, Houston's defense going to be a hell of an experience. Should be a hell of a game.
No, for sure. And, you know, they even have the big Maloch. Like, he's good, too. Like, they got, you know, they got some, like I'm saying, like, when it comes to, like, the starting 5, even though they're real young and they're freshmen, they've been, every test they've been thrown at so far, they've conquered and, you know, beat every challenge in front of them. So, but I think,
got players,
for sure, and I really like Proctor a lot. I think he's the real X factor. I think he's explosive. He's got the talent. I mean, like, for most of, I mean, we all know about Cooper Flag, but, you know, I think he's a good wingman to help elevate Duke to get to the championship game. So it's going to be interesting to see how things break down. So, G, I got to ask, who you got, man? Who you got winning this out of the last 4 teams?
I'm rolling with Florida, man. I got them in my bracket. I'm going to just going to stay with them, man. I mean, until this is it. 2 more games.
Yep.
Wrap it up. I'm going with Florida, riding that momentum, man.
I like Florida a lot, too. I mean, they're good at offensive rebounding, which has been key for some of their comebacks, honestly. Just getting the ball back and just getting a second opportunity at a shot and making the shot and then, you know what I mean, helping building momentum from there. I like Florida a lot, too. I did a bracket. I have Florida and UConn Florida and Duke at the end. And
that's what I got my final.
Yeah, so, like, I definitely think so. I mean, they've been battle-tested. I mean, we can give, you know, credit and kudos to Golden for building this program to where they were, and I mean, taking over from what it was when, you know, White Chocolate left it and everything. Like, he's doing a really good job. So I gotta give. I think the title's gonna go back to Florida. It's been a little while. I mean, we remember the dynasty teams of Billy Donovan and then, you know, Joakim Noah, Al Horford, Corey Brewer.
Yes.
So we remember that.
I think was Bradley Beal on those teams too.
No, I think he came a little after, and he ended up becoming a lottery pick.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he came a little
after.
after.
They had another brother on that team. He was a guard. I can't remember his name.
they've had a couple kids come from that program for sure.
Yeah, Florida's been doing that thing.
No, for sure. But I definitely think the title's going to come back to Gainesville, and they've become a basketball school, G. Honestly,
right? That's what's up.
Especially in that crazy SEC conference and everything. But G, I mean that wraps up things for most of the point here. But I appreciate you coming on and dropping some of your final thoughts.
Joffey, come on, man! You call me, man. You want me to call it how I see it? What? Get it every time, anytime, Joffey, anytime.
Absolutely, man. It's always a pleasure, man. I appreciate you.
Always, bro.
Hello, world. Yes, and we have a new guest on Call It How I See It. My boy, I work with him at Hard Rock, but very, very knowledgeable in baseball. Very knowledgeable and, big Mets fan, but he's my boy, so I can forgive him. But how you doing, Keith Falco? It's good to have you in the house, man.
Thank you, Joe. It's an honor to be here. Yes, I am a big Mets fan. It's been a rough 30-some years of my life, but yeah, hopefully we're turning a corner soon, and yeah, I can't wait to dive into it.
No, for sure. I'm glad to have you on. Like I said, Mets fan and all, but hey, like I said, I respect it, and like I said, you're gonna call it how you see it, so I'm ready to hear it.
Love it.
But all right, Keith. So I brought you in for your expertise in baseball, and seeing how you are a Mets fan, I want to start off with how you feel about how things have been going so far this year with the Mets. I know it's early, but and we're in our second series.
Yes.
But go ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely early. Definitely, first 5 games in the season.
Yeah.
The pitching is really what worries me with the Mets. Our rotation is not the strongest rotation, especially with Mania being hurt.
Yeah.
So that is a problem. But I like Clay Holmes at the helm. He had a solid game 1.
Yeah.
We just didn't have the offense. We faced Valdez from Houston. He's one of the top pitchers in the game.
Yeah, trust
so
me, I know about
that. That was a tough matchup for Holmes.
Yeah.
But for sure, pitching is going to be a little problem. But like I said, if we could just go 500 ball until the All-Star break, I believe our offense is strong enough to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for the season.
Yeah.
I know you guys are the favorites right now for the NL East.
For now, I mean, we'll see.
For now, we'll see. But I think Phillies do have one of the strongest pitching rotations in baseball.
Oh, for sure.
With Zach Wheeler at the helm.
Yeah.
And, Luzardo, love that pickup.
Yeah. Aaron Nola.
Yeah. I mean, Nola had a rough outing, but I still think Nola is still solid.
No, for sure. I mean, that's why he's why he's there. We paid him. Making sure he's there.
Yeah. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the Mets this year. I believe hopefully we could keep the momentum going from last year.
Yeah.
Last year was one of my best years I ever had as a Mets fan. Just the way we did it. Beating Atlanta in the wild card.
Yeah.
And then going into Milwaukee with that 3-run homer by Pete.
Yeah.
In Game 3.
Huge, bro. One of the biggest home runs in Mets history.
That was huge, man. And then we just then we faced you guys in the division.
Took care of business, man. You guys took care of business, bro.
We were just a hot team. In baseball, that's all it takes.
Yes,
you just have to get hot at the right time.
Absolutely.
We seen that with you guys a couple years ago.
Yes.
You guys went to the World Series against Houston.
Yes.
So yeah.
No, playing hot at the right time is definitely good. And actually, you know what I feel like started your guys on the upswing is when you guys beat us in London. Honestly, I felt like after you guys,
absolutely, 100%.
I feel like that London series really started something with you guys. I don't know if it was the Bryce Harper slide is showing off, but you guys really I just remember. Yeah, I remember McNeil coming up strong for you guys down the stretch. You guys really came together, and then when everything solidified, with your pitching staff, like you said, Manaya and everybody, the Japanese guy, it was, you guys really held things down. I was like, damn, these guys are really about to be good.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, Steve Cohen invested all this garbage in the beginning, and now for the scraps that he his GM was able to put together for the team that is now, he's got Lindor, they've brought back Alonso, the core is still there, and then you have a player like Juan Soto, bro. It just definitely elevates things. He is a guy that changes the needle for sure. So.
Absolutely. I think we started the season 5 and 15. We were 9 or 10 games under 500. I think going in the London series too. I think we were 10 games under 500.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think something clicked in London, and I think they put Lindor in the leadoff spot after that. And when he was in the leadoff spot, things started to change a little bit.
No, for sure.
Definitely that London series definitely turned the corner.
Oh, for sure. And like you said, like, the hot team coming in the playoffs, like we've seen so many scenarios. Like we've seen it with our run, even our run back when we did win it that one year, or even we remember like the Colorado Rockies a couple of times. Like if you're coming in hot, what I mean, nobody wants to touch you, bro. Nobody wants to face you. Even like the Yankees last year, coming into the postseason, they were able to get hot, stayed hot, and they were able to make it to the World Series. So baseball, it's a long year, as we all know. You know what I mean? So like get to the finish line and playing your best ball is definitely the biggest most important thing. So and like 100%. Last year, bro. I think last year for the Phillies, I think they were just like more focused about winning the division and trying to get the rest that they felt like they needed. But I feel like sometimes that can be like a double-edged sword because you're not
and you guys got such a hot start.
Yeah.
Like, you guys got
Yeah, no, like we started to like fizzle out, and like after the All-Star break, playing below 500, and like I said, just getting by to get the division and everything. I think that was more their mindset, and then they had their big celebration, and after that, they took their time off, and then they weren't ready to play. So. The bats need to turn on. And
I totally agree with you.
No, for sure. And I'm kind of seeing that trickle into the Phillies this year, even with their lineup. They're not hitting the starting pitcher at all. Like, I mean, I couldn't even almost believe what I saw on opening day with Gore. Gore had like 13 strikeouts, and everybody was getting fanned. But then, like, when their bullpen kicked in, and even the first game with the Rockies that they played, like, the other day, like, they started off slow, and then they take advantage of the relief pitching in the bullpen. So, like, I'm concerned about the Phillies lineup. I mean, if we look at it on paper, like, oh, look, you have so many All-Stars, they should be doing this. But, like, I just seen them go cold when they need to go hot. And then, especially in the playoffs, too, like, when pitchers have more rain, to like starting pitchers that have, like, they can eat up innings. If something's working, the manager's not going to take it out in the playoffs. Like, in the regular season, you have to regulate things and stuff. But in the long run of things, I'm just interested to see how the Phillies hold up. I mean, I get it, we're the favorites right now. But, I mean, we'll see how
sometimes you don't want to be the favorites.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right.
I mean, if you look at the last, like, 5-6 years, the wild card teams, I mean, besides the Dodgers, I would say. But the wild card teams have gone pretty far.
Right, exactly.
In postseason. So sometimes the favorite is not all that,
No, it's not. And especially, too, like, when you're, like, taking breaths and you get thrown off rhythm,
Sure,
baseball, you got to be, like, connected and in sync with one another, I mean, it definitely throws things off. Sometimes that can be, more bad than it is good.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
So, real quick, since we are, breaking down the East right now, do you think it's still a three-headed horse race? Or do you think, like, with everything that's going on with Atlanta, do you think they're going to have to take some more time to get back into this, like, with where we are as two teams?
Yeah, Joe, I hate to say it. I think it's a two-horse race. I don't think Atlanta's going to be competitive this year. I know they're off to a slow start and it's early. But, I mean, I look at their lineup and I look at their rotation. I know Sale's at the helm right now. He's the ace right now, and he's probably one of the best in the game. But after Sale, it gets a little thin.
No,
it gets thin.
Yeah, no, they have definitely had a big drop.
And with Acuna being hurt, and I think he's coming back in May or June.
Yes,
I think I heard.
That's what I've been reading. Yes.
And that's his second ACL injury.
I know it's tough to come back from.
I think it was one on both knees, right?
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah, that's a tough injury to come back, and I know but yeah, I'm just going through the Braves lineup with Harris. Riley, Olsen. I know Ozuna had a great year last year.
Yeah. Albies too.
And I do like Ozuna, but I kind of felt like it was kind of a fluky year.
Yeah.
With Ozuna. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think the other people around him helped produce the numbers that he had.
100%.
Because if people aren't getting on base, he's not having that.
I mean, like after Albies though, it gets real thin. That's what's the big question mark for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with
but
you.
Yeah, going back to you, no. I mean, the answer to your question, I'm going to say no. I think it's a two-horse race between the Phillies and the Mets.
Yeah, I feel like Atlanta's kind of putting themselves in a hole right now.
I think the Phillies. I think the Phillies have a little. Yeah. I mean, 0-6. I mean, they played today. I don't know if they won today. But, I think 0-6. It's still, it's still, like you said, it's early. So
yeah, it's a long year.
I mean, just going forward, I'm not a fan of the lineup. It's a long year, but I'm just not a fan of the lineup right now. And like I said, the pitching is very thin.
No, for sure. I mean, they're still waiting for Strider to come back, but like, who's to even say he's going to be like the same guy that comes back? Like, like coming back from that type of elbow injury and stuff. Like he's had electric stuff, and I know more over time with the medical advances and surgeries and stuff. A lot of these guys have been able to come back and still get
top
to where
trainers
they are.
They have,
But it's still it's still a question mark, and we'll see how Strider handles things. I mean, we've seen we've seen him kind of had some hiccups in the postseason, so we'll see.
For sure, yeah.
But I mean, I think Atlanta has a long way to go in terms of like thinking about the postseason. They're gonna have to dig themselves out that hole.
Absolutely. I mean, I still have you guys as the favorites. I still just because your rotation is so strong, and you still have a great lineup too. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like our biggest thing, as long as we show up, I mean, I don't see how we can't beat anybody. I even think like we have a game coming, we have a matchup coming with the Dodgers coming up. So I'm like really interested to see if these guys are going to show
series.
up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like even
Big
though it's
series.
early in the year, it's definitely a big
No.
like it's like a measuring stick to see where you really are. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Complete
Yes.
team. But we'll see how
Because you want
things
to
break
see,
out.
I mean, you want to see the Phillies compete with the big boys. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's what
I
I'm
mean, I'm not
saying.
saying Philly's not a big boy, but you know the
Right.
Dodgers, Padres, the Yankees. You know,
Right. I mean, in terms of payroll and everything you're putting and investing
you're
in
up
this
there.
team,
Yeah.
you have to be up there, and you have to
Yeah.
just show that you guys are somewhat ready.
Yeah. You know,
So
I mean, obviously you need offense to win too, but yeah, but I still think you guys have one of the best pitching rotations in the game. So
I mean, hey, pitching
we'll see.
helps,
Yeah.
but I mean, we've also had problems with our bullpen. I mean, we lost Hoffman. I mean, he was good in the regular season, had some hiccups last year in the postseason, but
He
I mean,
did. Yeah.
we're counting on younger guys like Orion Kirkering, even Alvarado, who's been, we all know about him as Phillies fans.
And I feel like I just want to touch base on Alvarado real quick. I feel
Yes.
like he's got electric stuff.
Absolutely, bro.
I think he's got all the pitches that he needs to win. You know, to be and it's all mental. Right. Yes, I totally agree. He's got the stuff. He's got this. He throws over 100.
There's 102. I'm like, yes.
102. Then he's got that filthy slider.
Yes.
I mean, he has the stuff.
He does. It's just all about putting everything mentally.
It's all mental,
and like it's not an easy place to play. You know, what I mean, like some people can't handle it. So, but even playing in New York too. I mean, there's people that
sure, Philly, New York, they're all the same. Boston.
But I mean, but even like your closer, right? Yeah, it's like I mean, he's been in the lowest of the lows, and then but he's come back mentally and still able to do his job and show why he's worth the money that he's getting paid. So I mean, that's the biggest important thing, and that's how you handle yourself as a professional. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, Diaz had a solid year last year.
Yeah, he did. He started off a little clunky, but then he smoothed things out once everything else was smoothing out too. Once everything else worked for you guys, everything just started rolling on all cylinders.
Absolutely.
But all right, I want to finish up our little take here with something that's been very controversial in the MLB right now, and that is torpedo bats. What's your take? What's your take, Keith, on these torpedo bats?
So I never even heard of this term before until they. So, the first. I've been watching a lot of baseball the first 6 games, and I don't know if all the teams are actually using it.
Right.
I think majority are using it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching a lot of Yankee games, and I've been studying the bats, and I see like the barrel, like the sweet spot of the bat is thicker.
Yes.
So yes, obviously hitters have an advantage. I think MLB is trying to bring back steroids that are not steroids. If that makes any sense.
Very, very, very good twist on this.
They're trying to bring back that home run, like the Sosa McGuire years.
Yes, they want the long ball, man.
And you know what? It is a form of entertainment, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring back more viewers for the game, and I totally understand that. More runs, more viewers, more action, right?
Yes.
So I believe that's what they're trying to do. Like, hey, I mean, who didn't watch the Sosa McGuire years? Those were some of the best baseball years of when I was a kid. I used to love it.
It put me on, bro. Watching that,
Right, it put you on. It put a lot of viewers on. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And I was like, wow, I want to be like Sosa because we didn't know what they were doing at the time.
All under wraps, just like this, all under the bat, or even like.
So they're trying to make it, more. I mean, it's all within legal. I mean, everything's legal about it. There's nothing against
Exactly.
MLB, approved it.
No,
so,
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. If everything has been regulated and pushed through for the MLB, like there's no reason that nobody else can use this. It's just like when somebody like capitalizes and makes it look good, like the Yankees did in the opening series and stuff. It's just like it just makes people scratch their head and be like, "What's this about?" or whatever. But like you said, anybody can use this. Anybody.
Yeah.
It's like
anybody can use it.
But
I'm still waiting for pitchers to find a weak spot on it too.
Yeah, it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some time.
But pitchers will find a weak spot on it, and I feel like once they find that. But right now, it seems to be working. I mean, especially like you said, the Yankees' first 3 games. Wow,
fucking lit up the park, man. Fucking having
20 lit up the park.
But I was talking to another Yankees fan who's like, "Oh, well, we could beat up the Brewers. I just don't think the Brewers are really good because we end up losing to the freaking Diamondbacks." I'm just like, "Oh, well, So.
I agree. Yeah, I think the Brewers. I thought they had a solid team. Maybe we just put a hurting on them last year, and they.
So you guys snatched their soul.
we snatched their soul exactly. So.
We'll see.
You said, though, it's still early, so.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how these torpedo bats hold up in time. I definitely think more people are getting put onto this idea, and there's probably guys right now as we speak right now, Keith, that are in batting practice in a cage right now using a torpedo bat, trying to feel it out and use it and everything. It's definitely going to be something we're going to keep an eye on. But Keith,
I'm excited. I'm excited. I mean, I'm a baseball guy, so
yeah.
Either way, I'm still going to watch the game. I mean,
honestly, like it helps to have your team being good and winning and stuff. But I'm just really happy. I mean, I'm really happy baseball season's back. It's put a big smile on my face. I got the game on over there right now, just like kind of keeping my eye on things. So, but it's
love it.
I mean, I guess right now where I'm at as a Philly sports fan, like the Phillies are what I've been looking for. I mean, the Flyers and Sixers, they're done. I'm not even paying attention to that.
Yeah. And you got your Eagles, so let's keep the momentum going, right? With Philly.
Yeah,
I get it.
Exactly. So I mean, even that too. I mean, we'll maybe bring in a championship down Broad Street and ignite the fire that the Phillies needed. I mean, seeing it firsthand, I mean, I definitely know that they absorbed that. So we'll see how things break down, though. But I'm gonna keep an eye on you guys too, though. You guys are definitely,
we'll be right on your tail, and if we're second fiddle, that's okay.
Yeah,
I'll take the back seat in the regular season, and then postseason,
come out when you need to.
We hit our stride again.
No, for sure. I mean, I definitely think at least 2 teams from our division are going to make it to the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, whether like we're honestly like I think you guys right now, if we were to play each other, I think you guys might edge us just because of what broke down last year. And the starting pitching factor, and so I see otherwise with the Phillies, I'm just really, I mean, like I get it, we're going to win later on or put on a game later on.
If you actually look at that series, your starting pitcher was dominant.
I know,
you guys were really dominant.
Yes. It's just not us putting up the runs. The bullpen gave up the hiccups, fell apart.
Yeah.
Hoffman and even Alvarado and stuff.
Strom was
he was money for most of the year, and then breaking down like that. So but we'll see how things break down, though. But Keith, I appreciate you coming on, man. This has been really fun,
man.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me, Joe. It's been an honor, and I look forward to coming on again. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, you're definitely gonna be hearing a Zoom call from me soon.
Thank you.
All right, Keith, I'll let you go. And we're back. And look who we have back in the house. My man, Johnny P. How you doing, man?
Very good, Joseph. Very good. Thanks for having me, Joe.
Absolutely. After what we did last week and everything, talking about, the tournament and everything, I only felt it was right to have you back in here, dropping some of your intake inputs on everything that's going on. So, first thing I want to start off with is, we've seen, I was kind of iterating this a little earlier in my other take, but, for the most part, we've seen a chalk 'em tournament. You know what I mean? We've seen the best teams, the best of the best, finally get to where it is. And which is kind of crazy, too, with the way college is going with the NIL and stuff. I mean, we've seen, like, other teams in the past, like Florida Atlantic make the Final Four. Teams that we haven't usually seen come up there. And we kind of thought maybe, at least on my end, I thought, like, a trend which is going to kind of come in. But, given how everything fell into place this season, I mean, we saw the best teams be the best teams. And honestly, when we really look back at this college basketball season, there was no really number one team. There's like interchanging here and there, but I'm not really surprised to see where things ended up here. But Johnny, since we are here, I want to know how you feel about seeing an all-4 number one seed in this Final Four.
Well, I believe, Joseph, I did my homework as I usually do.
Yes.
The last time the top 4 seeds was 2009, I believe.
Okay.
2008, 2009, I believe 2009. Yeah. And like you said, there hasn't been a clear number one outspoken team this year.
Right.
There hasn't been the Connecticut's and domination and so forth. But you do have 4 very prolific teams.
Oh, for sure.
There's firepower, there's defense.
Yes.
There's defense, and you really don't get that much defense in college basketball. People want to see points in anything. But Houston Cougars, watch out. They suffocating, Joe.
They are. They are that team that is like knit and gritty. They are gonna, they're gonna play hard on every play.
Absolutely. They got a very good chance of beating Duke. I mean, a very good chance of beating Duke. Listen, Cooper Flag is amazing.
Yes.
And that whole all 5 starters, but Cooper Flag going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, of course.
Right.
But he's got the other freshmen with him, and the senior senior are very. They work as a whole. They really do. They work as one unit. That's what I like about Duke. Nobody cares who's the high scorer. Even look at Flag the other day. Yeah. He had a horrible first half.
Yeah.
He was throwing up some clings and banging, but I think he calmed down. He got a very good coach. Duke coach is excellent coach.
Yeah, John Shire has definitely felt. He's definitely filled in some big shoes there, but he's definitely doing his thing.
Well, he rose through the ranks and he played for Krzyzewski.
Yes.
And I think Mike had that all along his head that he wanted him to be the coach.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely was grooming him along the way.
And when you're trying to players, when you find players like Cooper Flag and whatnot, everybody, it's one thing about Duke. Either you love them or you hate them.
Yeah, that has always been the narrative with them.
There's no middle. It's either yes or no. That's the way it is.
No, for sure.
But if I have to talk about that game first, if that's okay, Joe?
Yeah, go for it, Johnny. Dive in.
I really think that's the over and under in that game is 135.5.
Okay.
It's going to be right at that number.
Defense.
Right at that number. I just have this hit that I'm feeling Houston.
Yeah,
Everybody
I know, right?
rolled on Duke.
Yeah.
As they should be.
Right.
But Houston, great coach. Great.
That's what I'm
great
saying.
coach.
Yes, go ahead.
He's been around a long time.
Yes.
I think it'll be a slower pace. I think Houston doesn't want to run with Duke.
No.
Because they run with Duke, Duke will run you off the court.
Exactly.
That's probably like a 63 to 67 first half.
Yeah.
Either something like that. But in the end, I'd like Houston to win a game. I really do.
I agree with you, Johnny. I think there's a lot of things that we can look at that Houston does well that matches up well with Duke.
Yeah. And as far as the other game, Joe, I mean, Florida, great team. They got away. They barely beat Connecticut. Danny Hurley's probably saying that could have been us, second been us.
Yeah.
But that's easy.
Even the Texas Tech game, man, what a comeback.
But, John Bloom, their power forward, I read everything. He's okay.
Yes.
He got some, everything back negative, and that is a prolific power forward.
Oh, no,
I don't think anyone can stop him one-on-one. They really can't.
Yeah.
Yep. And
the lefty.
The line in that game is 2.5, 161. That's probably going to be right at that mark, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Right at 61. I like Auburn.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I like Auburn.
Okay.
So I'm liking Auburn, and I'm liking Houston.
Okay.
And I like Auburn to win it all.
Okay. So you think this is Bruce Pearl's year?
Yeah, and it's like I said, all number one seeds. It could go either way, but that's my gut.
Okay.
I like Houston, a very tight game, low-scoring game. Auburn game with Florida could put some high numbers up there.
Right.
But in the end, Monday night at 9 o'clock when they tip off or whatever, 9:15, I like Auburn to win it all.
Okay.
I do. Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I could be totally wrong, but I like Auburn, Joe. I really do.
Okay, Johnny. Nah, dude, definitely, definitely, I can definitely see where you're coming from with your points and stuff here, for sure. I mean, if you're going to have, like, a matchup like that, you're definitely going to see some experienced coaches that have been, like, booming at the mouth for a national championship, given their past with investigations and probes and stuff. If you really get to see Bruce Pearl versus Calvin Sampson in the final, those two teams, that would be, I would definitely be looking forward to that. I mean, that's definitely probably not the popular pick that a lot of people are picking. I actually have, Florida and Duke duking it out, but I have, like, looked at everything involved here, and I can definitely see things flipping upside down, and a lot of people wouldn't even expect this type of happen. I mean, from Florida, I know they beat Auburn the last time, but like what we were talking about in the Kentucky and Tennessee matchup last year, the SEC, they just been duking out and just knocking each other out. And personally, for me, I think Auburn coming, the journey they've had in this tournament, they've played the hardest teams, and to get to where they are now and even win convincingly along the way, it definitely shows a lot for their resume and explains to why they are here right now. And
hit the nail on the head. I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Battle tested.
Yes.
That's what you need. And you don't want to play 32 games a year, 30 games a year, and have a weak schedule. That does not. Excuse me. But I love Auburn. I really do.
No, for sure. For sure.
But,
I mean, it's definitely a team Charles Barkley can be proud of.
He wanted to have his blazer on the other day.
Yeah.
But I don't think CBS would allow it. But he was leaping there, and I like Auburn to win it all.
Mm-hmm.
And at 11:30, 11:45 at night, when the confetti comes down, it's Auburn.
Yeah,
that's fine.
No, for sure. I can definitely see that happening. And even on the other matchup, I just want to say a couple things. Like, if we're gonna look at Houston versus Duke, and even what you said, playing against Duke and not getting run off the floor. If Houston can just slow the tempo and just keep grinding out every possession between the two teams, I definitely like where Houston can trend in that game. Honestly, if they slow things down, play tough defense for people and stuff, I definitely like their chances of beating Duke. And like I said, it would be it'd be really historic type of matchup to see these two coaches face off each other. So
I think that you hit the nail on the head, Joe. I think they stretch that clock out to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yes.
Ball at a 26, 27 second ratio in that range.
No, because we all know that style of basketball. No, it's not the NBA prototype, but in the college world, that's just it slows everything down. And especially with Duke, mostly freshmen and stuff. I don't know if they will have the patience and impulsiveness to kind of control themselves and play that style of game. But we'll see. I mean, John Shire, young coach, young team, so we'll see. Definitely had a great run. Probably have the best roster, starting five, that's NBA ready in terms of prospects. But sometimes that doesn't even matter. It matters, but it can not be the deciding factor to this type of situation. So Johnny. I want to wrap things up. I mean, we've seen a MLB opening week. It's been, honestly, I'm really glad baseball's back. Honestly, it puts a big smile on my face.
I know.
But what's some things that you've taken so far from this season?
Well, what can you not say about the Torpedo Bats?
I know. It's a big controversial thing. Yes.
But Joe, I believe the bats have been actually around for a while.
I know that's something I'm reading up on. Everyone's lurking and searching into this, but yes, go ahead.
I respect Aaron Judge for saying, "Listen, I've hit 52, 58 homers. I'm not using that bat. I don't need to."
Right.
But and other players, Volpe, who I love, Anthony Volpe, Jersey boy, and his swing, a la Jeter type of swing to right field. If the bat helps him, use it. You know, and it's certainly not helping the Atlanta Braves.
No, they could definitely use some torpedo bats down there.
But I think the Braves will bounce back.
They're not 100% yet. I mean, I can't really take them serious until they have Strider and Acuna back. But you would think with that lineup, though, they would, at least have a win by now. You know what I mean? That's at least my perspective on them. But, I mean, a lot of people already kind of jumping the gun and, kind of throwing them out. I mean, I know about, I've seen enough of their team to realize that they can be a problem later on in the year. Especially with that core.
Yep. And Soto's not doing great. He's got one homer. But
I know. He started off with a bang and, things sizzled out. I mean, also, too, that's kind of just been him. You know what I mean? Yes, he has explosiveness and, gets a lot of hype around his play and stuff. But at the end of the day, we've seen him go on streaks where he just goes plateau. So
I think they players from Dominican Republic or Venezuela, whatever, they don't like the cold weather.
No, they don't bubble up. They don't start to bubble until later on.
Yeah, but Soto will probably have his 42 to 45 homers on the RBIs, but the Mets have a good lineup.
They do. And I as a Phillies fan, I mean, especially with the bad taste that they left in our mouth last year. I mean, I'm definitely gonna be watching this year. I got my eye on that, so we'll see how things break down. But Johnny, I appreciate you coming on. A little chit chat here and there, talking some college basketball and baseball. But it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure to have you on, and I'm glad we were able to do this again.
Thank you, Joe.
Absolutely.
Talk to you.
Absolutely.
Bye, Joe.
Enjoy your night.